had a show last night, right?
Yeah, we've had three in a row. So I'm now in Nashville, and I play another show tomorrow.
And how has it been, life on the road?
It's been crazy. My fans are fucking crazy. They're literally like the loudest ever. People sometimes don't think that I'm singing because they're singing so loud. Wild. Yeah.
That's awesome, though. So to get into songwriters camp, first off, we just kick it off with like, how'd you become a songwriter?
So I've always been into poetry and like writing stories. But it wasn't until I was 13 that my grandpa got me a keyboard and I taught myself how to play. I searched up, what was it? I think it was like Tequila by Dan and Shay. And I was like, I want to play this. And then I just started like searching up like really popular pop songs and like learning how to play them. And then I started posting them on YouTube and became a songwriter.
Do you remember the first song you wrote?
Um, yeah, one of it was like when I was like 7, and it was like it's called My Own Little World or something. It was like the tackiest song ever, and I remember I was so proud of it. Yeah, and I was so young.
Was this before or after you started like dancing?
This was, I mean, I feel like I've always kind of like sung around the house and like written,
Hmm.
songs, but when my YouTube channel started, it was after I had been dancing for like so many years. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And when you like made the shift into like music, did you know that you always wanted to continue the dance aspect of it? Because like when you perform, like I went to your show, and when you perform, it's like a dance routine with your music. So did you always know that you wanted to include that?
I mean, I had no idea that I was gonna even like end up being a singer. It's it's really interesting because I thought I was gonna be a backup dancer my whole life. So I
Oh
was,
wow.
like be a backup dancer. And then once I obviously started writing and singing became a thing, I was like, okay, we have definitely have to put the two together because this is gonna be sick. And obviously, it's like my dream. I mean, getting to do
Yeah.
both, like the best thing ever.
And do you think that I mean, growing up dancing and just always having like that creative side has taken you down a specific creative journey?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been around music. My mom was my dance teacher, and I feel like I've always been around it and always been a really, really creative
Hmm.
kid. It's kind of just like in my veins. I feel like there's the only time that I like will genuinely feel like 100% myself is when I'm like on stage or in a studio or, working creatively.
And how would you describe your songwriting style?
I think it's literally just me spitting out my like diary. I think it's if I genuinely like feel something in the moment, like I'll like walk out of like a social situation, I'll be like, oh my god, I'll go straight to my piano. The first thing that like comes to my mind, I'll just be like, like I'll play the piano and sing it, melody and lyrics at the same time. Yeah,
Have you ever been like in the middle of like a life experience and you're like, oh, this is gonna make a great song?
100%. Oh my god, there's so many times where I'm like watching people, and I'm like, these people have no idea what I'm about to write.
Wow, that's amazing though. And there's is a sense of like vulnerability though to that. I mean, if you said it's like your diary all out there. So how do you approach that?
I mean, it's scary, obviously. Like I don't want my friends knowing like my deepest darkest secrets. I think no one does. I'm a very like private person. I don't talk
Hmm.
about a lot of stuff. But I think if anything I will take the blame for everyone else's feelings and make other people feel safe rather than
Hmm.
like, I don't really care. I mean, if people want to know everything, then they can like figure it out through my songs, but they had no
Hmm.
idea. So that's the process. I think it's at the end of the day, it's my perspective, and I can put the little last bow, whatever touch I want to put on the
Yeah.
song, and then no one can like touch it or argue. So
And how do you know when a song is done?
um, usually, I mean, you can make finesses and final
Hmm.
touches for forever, but I think it's when you finish the bridge. The bridge is the hardest one to nail down.
Is there a song that was the easiest for you to write?
You Broke Me First was actually super easy, and we didn't really think anything of it because we were just going in for fun. So it was
Hmm.
like went in for like an hour and 15 minutes. We wrote it, and I was like, good job. And we like cut, like, that was pretty. And then
Uh-huh.
we like session, and we just had no idea like that song was gonna, even be
Yeah.
anything that, um, but yeah, it was like super simple. Like we didn't even realize what we just wrote. It was so quick.
And do you remember the moment where it like started to blow up on TikTok specifically?
I do. I was like scrolling because it was like TikTok was so new at the time. I
Hmm.
was scrolling and I was like, why is my sound popping up like every
Yeah.
second? And yeah, it was very, very cool. It was just like it just like, it started to become more and more consistent. I get texts from all my friends being like, is this your song? Like, it was just a
Yeah.
thing. So yeah.
Would you say that TikTok has changed the music industry?
I think 100% it's changed the music industry. I think it's so interesting because anything can blow up, and then a whole bunch of songs also don't blow up too. It's just like
Hmm.
genuinely all the power is in the people, which is, I think, a really great thing because there's not like two people that control everything. It's like,
Yeah.
if you really in something, you can put it out there and see if people like it or not. And I think that's like the magic of, you're so close with your friends or with your fans. It's like they're right there and they can tell you if they like something or not. And if they don't, they'll be brutally honest about it.
Is that helpful though? I mean, it's like a helpful tool, right? I mean, I see that you're like teasing right now, for example, your album coming out. So do you take that feedback or you're just like, I mean, it's what it is at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to know. I think you can tease certain things, and then it's like only so many opinions are good.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you need to trust your gut on songs. But I think it is helpful for sure, just so my fans know, what kind of little bits and pieces they're gonna get on the album.
And do you like take into consideration what is popping up like in music right now, or do you kind of just stay in your own lane?
I think everything is so different right now. I don't think there's like one. I feel like there's so many different styles and genres in the music industry right now. It's like I have no idea. I have no idea what's out there, and I think it's honestly just like keep recreating yourself and keep putting out things that are challenging you as an artist and as a songwriter, and that's all I'm trying to do is just push myself because I'm like some of the sounds on my album are so different from me too and so unique.
Hmm.
As long as it makes me feel something really strongly, that's when I
Yeah.
know it's like
How would you just sum up your album in one word, if you could?
um I would say it's chaos. Chaos for sure.
And to go in chaos, Chaotic just came out, which is your latest single. So what made you want to put that one out before the album?
Honestly, it was a really difficult situation. I was deciding between a lot of songs, between, which one to release. And I think at the end of the day, it was just like, okay, I'm just gonna, this is how I feel right now, and this is where my mental space is. And I feel like my fans want to hear something that's like really, really personal. And so I did it. And if it, I feel like I just performed it for the first time last night in Detroit.
Mm.
And it was the craziest thing ever because I literally released it like a week ago and the whole crowd knew the lyrics, which was so wild. And I think that's like the magic of touring that I've never got to experience before. But that was definitely
Hmm.
a cool moment.
And the visuals with that, I mean,
Thank you. That
insane.
honestly, the visual was like one of my favorite parts of it because
Hmm.
I terrifying nightmare of something tragic happening
Yeah.
and no one realizing that it's happening and no one noticing. And I think that's a fear for so many people is like you're the only one going through trauma and it's like
Yeah.
super. um and so that was the cool part is it was like this like recurring loop that was going on forever. And it was really hard to film too because I'm like, this is crazy. It's like a silent room, the
Hmm.
music was playing, and I'm like screaming and there's like people beside me. Um, so it was I think it really really fit well with the whole concept of my album and everything that's coming out soon. It's all like connecting.
Yeah, and did you have those visuals in mind before, or they kind of came to you after the album was already put together?
We're kind of piecing it together like the last like 4 months, especially all the visuals have come into place. So it
Hmm.
definitely full story from like my first single to, my next single, everything. It's all piecing together really nicely, which I'm proud of because it feels like a movie to me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're telling a story. And have you listened to the album like start to finish?
I have. It's really stressful because I'm going through a phase right now where like a week ago I was like, yes, so sick. And my manager yesterday, I'm like, we need to scrap everything. Like, I need to restart. Let's just write a new album.
Hmm.
Okay, you need to chill out. It was like,
Yeah.
relax. You killed it.
Hmm.
Let it be now. Don't touch it. Don't think about it. But it's yeah. I feel like there's a lot of emotions you go through because I feel like I'm doing it like all on my own, which is scary
Hmm.
because I don't even know what I'm doing. But I think that's the beauty of art in a way.
And do you think that you're have those emotions though because it is your debut album? I mean, it's the first full album to come out with your name on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrified. I think it's gonna be crazy because music comes out so much, so people are
Hmm.
constantly songs and songs and songs. But yeah, I'm like scared. I'm scared that I left out songs that could have been perfect on the album. But I
Hmm.
also take like 50 songs and narrow it down and honestly just like fit one concept. So I'm like, maybe I'll release a song 5 months from now, you know, that fits with the album, but like isn't on the album. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It was difficult because like I feel like that's like the hardest part is like the decision making at the end of it.
And how do you do that though? I mean, it's just whatever feels right in the moment.
Right. I mean, you just got to make a decision. And that's not good because I'm literally the most like indecisive person ever. um, so I think that was the difficult part for me is I'm like I
Hmm.
can write for days and I'll like write a gazillion songs and I'll make a million visuals and I'll do all that
Yeah.
shit. Like picking songs for an album, never again. I'm gonna let someone do it next time.
You're like, here's 20, take them.
Pick them. Which one's the best?
So when you write by yourself, do you approach that differently than when you're writing with someone else?
Yeah, 100%. When I write by myself, I have like videos of me on my like photo booth because I'll record myself to like listen back to melodies and I'm
Hmm.
like staring out into space for like 20 minutes and I'll just start singing the whole song and
Hmm.
I'm like, where did that even come from? Like, how do I even think of I think it's just genuinely like stream of consciousness. And then
Yeah.
when you're full of writers, you kind of have to like describe a story and describe like whatever you're going through and then piece it together. But when it's by myself, I'm very much like dazing off into the distance and then I just literally spit out a song.
Do you think it's easier or harder when it's by yourself?
It's definitely easier to write by myself. I think I wish I could produce because I'm like I would write everything by myself. Um, but yeah, writing by myself, I feel like I can write a song in 15 minutes. Yeah.
That's crazy. It just comes to you.
I mean, if I'm feeling it, yeah.
I understand. And when you're I mean, you've been on tour for a solid minute, cool
Yeah.
minute. So when you perform your songs, do you take a different approach to them than when you're recording them in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, performing songs on tour is weird because for the first time ever, it feels like songs come to life. I don't know if that makes
Mhm.
sense, but like it's like you can hear all these things and you can write all these lyrics and you can record them, and then it's like finally you're standing on a stage by yourself and you're like preaching these lyrics to like thousands of kids, and you're like, oh my God, like this is what I said and this is what's in the world. And honestly, it makes me feel proud because I'm like I'm putting out lyrics that are like really genuine to me, and it's not just you know nothing. I feel like there's a lot of weight behind the words that I say, and it
Yeah.
honestly makes me feel them way more, and it gets me like really emotional on stage because I feel like I'm like talking about my whole life every single time I
Hmm.
sing.
Is there a song that you're most proud of so far?
Um, yeah, there's a few right now that I love performing. I mean, I have a song called That Way that's so fun to sing. Um, Obviously, You Broke Me First is so special. I I mean, that song is like wild because, I don't
Yeah.
think I person in the audience not singing it, which, I would like never thought I would experience.
Hmm.
And then Chaotic last night, I think was like very, very cool because that song's just honestly so personal to me. So
Yeah.
that one.
To go back to That Way, so you have it, it's your song, but you also have a version with Jeremy Zucker on it. So how did that, and you have a lot of collabs on your songs. So
Yeah.
do you always
Um,
know which songs you want to be a collab eventually, or does it kind of just happen and it's very organic?
it's very organic. I mean, that one was just, I think it was having like a TikTok moment. Like people were going a little crazy on it for a second. So I was like,
Hmm.
hey, Jeremy, I've been a huge fan of yours for forever. I'm like obsessed with him. And I was like, can you please write a verse on this? And I just met him for the first time. And it was hilarious because I went through a breakup the day that I met him. And he was like, he was my, and I came back, I came to his house and I was like, just finished like sobbing. And he was like, hey, nice to meet you. And he was like, are you okay? Like,
Oh man.
but we had to like write this whole song and I was like a wreck. But he's a big idol of mine and I love him. So
And is that how most of the collabs have happened? Or do you have a song in your head that you're like, oh, that could be a really good collab down the line?
yeah, I mean, right now, honestly, I have no idea who I would want to collaborate with. I think I'm mostly just like focusing on single, like just my own music.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's if it's like the right time, the right place, I feel like it just like happens. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know your fans want it. They're all in the comments right now trying to pitch you collabs with other artists. Um, I love it. I mean, somebody threw out Shawn Mendes, and I was like, "Oh, you're going on tour, Shawn Mendes." So I wouldn't say no.
That'd be fun. That'd be very cool.
Which are you excited to that? I mean, it's like arenas, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be incredible because Sean's fans are obviously incredible, and I feel like they're kind of like mine. They're just like great
Hmm.
people, and they just like want to listen to really good lyrics and they want to scream really good songs. And I think
Yeah.
it'd be really cool. Obviously, like Sean too is a big idol of mine, so getting to watch him every night is gonna be very very cool.
And do you think you can learn from when you go and see other artists perform? Can you learn from them?
100%. I mean, I think it's so weird because when you go on stage, like for me at least, I like black out and I'm like, I have no idea what should happen. And so it's gonna be good to like just see how other artists like. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people black out on stage and just let it happen. It's gonna be like I haven't even been to that many concerts in my life, so
Hmm.
watch someone who's like a seasoned professional and take take it from him because he's a god. So
Is there anything you can tease for your future performances?
lots of dancing. I mean, I'm dancing already so much. Literally like
Hmm.
the worst cardio of my life. I had to I had to before my tour I had to like practice like jumping on a trampoline and singing at the same time because my cardio was so bad. Oh, it was like exhausting singing and dancing time. So Sean, I'll probably dance more.
Wow, you dance a
Yeah,
lot too, and I'm like, I'd be out of breath just singing. I
yeah, it's
can't
a lot
imagine.
for sure.
But is there a specific song off the album that you're most excited to perform live?
Um, I don't know. I think, She's All I Want to Be is incredible to perform live. It's like such a whirlwind. I never thought that it would be that fun. I think that song's actually sometimes louder than You Broke Me First, which is
Wow.
wild. Um, but yeah, that song is definitely one of my favorites to perform so far.
And we're asking everybody on Songwriters Camp if you had to pick three songs to be on everyone's playlist, what would they be?
Ooh. What have I been listening to? The Beach by The Neighborhood. Um, what else? Ivy, Frank Ocean, and what else is out there right now? um, As It Was by Harry Styles.
That's having a moment on
I'm sure,
TikTok for sure.
So
Yeah,
good.
that album will come out, and then your album will come out. All the fans are gonna have all the music for days, for months.
I'm so excited.
And is there a specific artist like right now that you aspire to be or you use as inspiration?
So many. I think I have so many female idols to look up to right now. I mean, you look at like Dua Lipa and Ariana Grande and Olivia and I don't know. There's literally so many. Doja Cat. I think I feel very lucky because I'm constantly being inspired by so many incredible women every day. But yeah, I have a lot of idols. I couldn't name them all off.
Is there a specific piece of advice that you've received over the years that you like keep with you?
I mean, this piece of advice by trust your intuition, no matter what anyone else tells you. I try to tell myself every single day, but it's really, really hard to follow sometimes when it's like unclear.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like your gut always knows, aside from anyone who tells you anything. I mean, I've had so many people try to tell me that I'm doing everything wrong and I'm releasing the wrong song. Oh, and like, and
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the day, it's like you got to trust your gut and just like follow what you think your fans are going to like. So,
Yeah. And is that what you would say like is the most important, I mean, piece of advice to follow when trying to become a songwriter?
totally, because you're the only one that knows your people and you're the only one who has to perform these songs in 10 years. So, I think it's stuck with you, so it's like you better love it. And at
Was
the end of the opinion matters except for your own. So, yeah.
was very true. You will be singing You Broke Me First for the next decade.
Yes. Oh.
Has there ever been a song, or I guess in anticipation for the album coming out, is there a song off the album that you think fans will grip onto and you'll be like, yeah, that one is gonna be a winner?
I have no idea. I really did think that I knew like a week ago, but I have
Hmm.
a crisis right now. So all the time.
It's working though. It's working. I mean, fans are screaming back at you. Like you said, you can't even hear yourself. So,
I really hope they like it. I hope so.
oh man. And then do you have more visual? I mean, I don't know if you can say this or not, but do you have more visuals coming out to accompany the album?
100%. There once all the visuals will come out, like everyone will see all the missing pieces to like describe the album. Um, but yeah, I think. Oh, let me say the one track that I think fans are gonna love that I think is heartbreaking is a song I wrote with Phineas, and it's one of the tracks on the album, and it literally rips my heart out and twists it into pieces. It's so sad.
Oh
So sad.
no.
Yeah.
And when you wrote with Phineas, I mean, were you in that mindset and that's why it came out like that? Or did you go in and you were like, we're gonna write a sad song today?
I was in that mindset. I didn't really know we were gonna write. I was a little nervous because I love him.
Mm-hmm.
But then he started playing these like really sad piano chords. And I was like, oh shit, we're starting. We're doing it. So people are gonna see. There's this one line in there that literally describes like it's like such a specific visual in my head. I remember looking at someone and there was just this one way that they acted when they like
Mm-hmm.
lied. And it's so funny because like when you hear the song, it's really really sad how it's described. So I'm excited for people to hear it. It sounds like a movie a little bit. So yeah,
Okay. I'm excited. And Phineas set the mood for that.
yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And to wrap up, do you have anything that you would like to say to all your fans in the comments or watching?
To all the people in the comments, I love you and come to a show and stream my album when it comes out. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on and to wrap up this season of Songwriters Camp. You were our finale. So,
Oh, thank you for your time. Nice
of
meeting you.
course. Yeah, it was nice meeting you too.
Okay, bye.